this if you don't. I endure abuse occasionally, which is fine, that's cool. I wouldn't do this job unless I was going to do it the way I thought I could do it. I just wouldn't do it. I'll go do something else. There's a lot of things you can do in this world. So that's my answer to those questions. Thank you for the question.
Hi, as a change of pace, my question is very simple. Where in the Constitution does we the people give you the authority to regulate or subsidize our health care?
Amen.
Yes.
Right, so the issue there, I mean, there's a lot that isn't specifically enunciated in the Constitution, but which is come about through, more than anywhere else, I think it's the taxation issue, because that's how we have Medicare. That's how we fund our VA. That's how we fund Medicaid. And from a regulatory perspective, it comes about through the way that the federal government, but even more precisely the state government, regulates the insurance industry.
Hi, thank you for being here, first of all. Basically, our health care is in distress, our health care system.
Yeah.
And the direction it should go. I think that the ACA could be adjusted and repaired and functional.
It's going to have to be.
But I also feel that to do that, Congress needs to become a working body. We need to work with Democrats, and Republicans need to, both sides of the aisle need to get together. I'd like to see you pledge that you will work to that effort, even if it results in single payer, because I think in the long run that's where we will be going as a nation.
Well, I pledge to work with others. I don't pledge to support single-payer health care, I can tell you that. You got to remember, I don't pledge to do that. Okay. You got to remember something here, and I wasn't in Congress, but there are a lot of members that are there now that were there when the Affordable Care Act was passed. And I hear this a lot now that, Republicans, they didn't work with Democrats on this health care stuff. And there are a lot of Republicans that remember passage of the Affordable Care Act, and the Obama administration steamrolled that through. And there was a lot of senators. I mean, the Cornhusker thing.
No, it's absolutely true.
No, that's true. No, I mean, you can say
irrefutable.
yeah, I mean, like that's just true. And so that poisons the well for some. Now, not me. Look, I'm different. I just think if there's a problem, you have to fix it. And you have to leave partisanship at the door, particularly on something like this, where we are going to have a very, everybody just no politics for a second, right? And I'm not saying anybody here is political, but people's lives are going to be really, really hurt if we don't fix and make sure that the CSRs are there for the next year. This is an extremely, extremely serious issue. And I am saying that it should come under Congress's prerogative, not the executive branch. That's not popular in some circles. And so when you're talking about work together, just do what's right, I'm doing it. And that's just what you need to do. That's the other thing, I didn't do this job to hurt people. I did it to help people. And so you have to take a problem as it's presented to you, and you have to deal with some things intermittently. This is an intermittent issue. There are some more long-range healthcare reforms that you and I, indivisible Berks, we may disagree. You're probably left to center, that's cool. We may disagree on some stuff philosophically, that's okay. But in the short term, there's really only one way to deal with the challenges that we have. And so I'm out there trying to do that.
Thanks.
Hi. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Arthur Galen. I'm from Wyomissing. I wanted to make a statement regarding the previous questioner.
Microphone closer.
Yeah. A little closer? Yeah. Is this good?
If you're going to come out with the previous question,
your
it
hand
has to be
like
nice.
Go like this, like your rabbit. Okay, so the preamble to the Constitution of the United States says a lot of things. Basically, what it's
Oh, so you're talking about the guy two from? Okay.
Yes, its basic purpose is to kind of explain what the Constitution is going to be about. There are many things said, but two of them are important, I think. Provide for the common defense and promote the general welfare of the people. those two things need to be kept in balance. And I think that applies to a lot of the questions that have been asked, and particularly I think with healthcare. My question is this. You stated, and I'm pretty sure that I was there in Westchester when you did say this, that you would prefer to be a local representative so that you can better know your constituents and the issues they face. Would you be willing to endorse redistricting reform in Pennsylvania so that can be a possibility?
So, a couple things. Number one, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you go in 2008, when you went in 2008, or when you go in 2018 to vote for your state rep and your state senator and your gubernatorial candidate, you are voting for them on a set of issues, whatever it may be, property tax, this, that, the other thing. You're also voting for them to approve the lines. That's the way the Constitution is set up. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, so that it's the state legislature that votes on that stuff, and it's the governor that votes it into law. I'll finish, because I know where you probably didn't like my answer there. That's fine. But that's the reality of the situation. If you go back in time and read Supreme Court holdings, they will say that gerrymandering is a, let me see if I get this right, a uniquely political process, right? That's what it is. You're never going to get lines that are going to meet with everyone's approval, and whichever party is in control is going to draw them in such a way as to their political advantage. It's always been done that way. I think the 2012 lines were particularly frustrating, maddening, whatever, to Democrats because they were drawn to Republicans' advantage, right? More so than previous ones, and that's probably because of the computer programs that you had in 2010 that you didn't have in 2000 and a lot of data that's out there. That doesn't, and by the way, we're going to lose one congressional seat in 2022 because of census data. We're growing, but we're not growing the way a lot of southern states are growing. That's something else. Next point. You have in southeastern Pennsylvania 4, you have my seat, Meehan's seat, Dent's seat, Fitzpatrick's seat, maybe Smucker's seat, so that's 5. You have 5 slightly Republican districts with 5, I mean, look, people call me all kinds of different Republicans, but the point is I don't think people think I'm the most conservative Republican in Washington, D.C. So if you look in the Philadelphia suburbs, by and large, if you look at voter registration, it's slightly Republican. You could draw those districts so that you have 3 safe Republicans and 2 safe Democrats. You could draw up 4-1. But the point is, no matter what you do, you're still dealing with the political process. Final point, and then if you want to do a follow-up. There's a case out there, a redistricting case or whatever, that's tailored in such a way to keep it in state court. On that point, Democrats and Republicans both voted for this map. They all voted for it. And this lawsuit that's out there right now, I do not believe even accounts for the Voting Rights Act. So you better be, so people, not you, those who wish to see redistricting reform or fair districts really need to take a long look at what the Voting Rights Act stands for, and making sure that if you in order to have minority representation in a district that has predominantly minorities, that if you strip that away and say, well, since there's 800,000 more Democrats in Pennsylvania, we should draw them in such a way that benefits Democrats, you could end up with those Philadelphia districts. This district could be part in Philadelphia in order to get a Democrat in it. And what you would also do is potentially violate the Voting Rights Act in doing so. What I think, more than anything else, is compactness, right? I think that you should have districts that have some element of compactness. There's probably a way to do it so that you have a compactness type score. And I also think you should try and not split municipalities up. I think that is, and even more than that, you should try and have school districts all within one. I mean, I try and visit every single public school district in my district in a 2-year cycle, and I'll go to the ones where there's only, what, 1 or 2 municipalities in it. But look, it makes it easier for me. But it also, I think, is a better way to go about representing the communities that you represent by having that compactness.
Okay. 2 responses. Number one, you're absolutely correct. It has become, and has for a long time been, a political process, the redistricting that we do, especially here in Pennsylvania. But it does not have to be that way. You do not have to allow politicians to make those decisions in Pennsylvania.
Well, you don't, you're right, you don't have to. That's
You can
correct, you don't
allow an
have to.
independent citizens commission to do that.
Who appoints that? Or do they run for election?
That's set up by law, in fact,
By politicians. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I just think,
well, it feels like a hard.
well, no, because I think ultimately it still devolves into some sort of political process.
No,
Look,
I disagree, utterly disagree.
all right,
The whole point of the Constitution of the United States was to make sure that we each have a vote and that those votes matter and that they are equal. My vote should be equal to your vote, to equal to your vote.
but I think it is.
It is not.
No, it's not.
If redistricting is done purposefully to bias areas, districts, so that they are more of one party than the other, then my party, if it's not of that majority, does not matter.
Yeah.
So
Look,
that is, first of all, it's unconstitutional, I would say. Second of all, it's undemocratic, the global sense of democracy. Second of all, so yes, you're right. It is a political process, but that should end. It should no longer be a political process. It should be a process by which, and yes, the legislator will have to make some decisions about having this process changed.
right,
But that will only happen in Pennsylvania by constitutional amendment.
which could happen, I think, from citizens petition, right?
Well, not in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But in the State House currently, there are two bills, Senate Bill 22 and House Bill
That's the
722.
other thing.